principles of jibing are speed, balance and steering, SBS. These can be applied to any boat, but trapezing often forms a distraction, especially for the helm. In the classroom, let's highlight the fundamentals. Firstly, balance. A small amount of windward heel will assist the steering into the jibe. A flat boat is also acceptable, but leeward heel will work against the turn, requiring more rudder. Similarly, too much windward heel will increase the rate of turn into the jibe, and that will need to be corrected with the rudder to stop oversteering. Prep time should be kept to a minimum. Time spent raising adjusters and moving forward in the boat loads up the sails as the boat slows down. Smooth steering is essential. The entry is critical as this sets up the whole manoeuvre. Get it right and you should start with minimal steering with the rudder following the boat rather than the other way around. That's starting to sound complicated. I wish there was a better way of explaining it.
Jeannie here, how can I help?
Jeannie, how does balance affect steering?
I can explain that by using the analogy of the outboard motor. By moving the outboard to the left of the centre line, the boat will want to turn to the right. By moving the outboard to the right, we will make it turn to the left. Drop a rig into the boat, and the same theory applies. The outboard now represents the centre of effort in the sails. As the boat heels, the C of E moves across the centre line, shifting our outboard from one side to the other. Now let's make this work for us on the racecourse. By setting up for the jibe with windward heel, we're using the outboard to help steer us into the turn, requiring less rudder. This helps us to control the entry without using the handbrake.
Ah, that's good.
With leeward heel, the rudder and engine are working against each other, putting the brakes on and loading up the rig.
Now that's bad.
When the boat finally starts to turn, the extra rudder kicks in and causes the boat to oversteer through the jibe.
That's going to get ugly.
This is a classic example of how the entry affects the exit.
Thanks, Jeannie. You're an inspiration.
Going for a jibe. Just hang on a minute. I'm just going to get the right bit of chop. Select my wave. And here we go. Are you ready? Let's go. Going. Keep it flat. Through the boat. Big steps. Out. Clip on. Power. Straight into the tow loop.
Power on, dump.
Let's go in this nice bit of breeze.
Ready when you
Ready? Let's go.
Sliding my hand down the old kite sheet, onto the new one, full chat round. Eyeball my handle straight out. Kite set.
And out we go.
Onto the wire, back into my foot strap, and off.
Got to make sure as the helm's in, you keep the main in actually for this. Now there's a bit more wind now. You can hear the boat start to sing.
Right, ready when
Peter?
you are, yeah.
After this chop here.
Back foot's out the foot strap now.
You ready? Let's go.
Okay, going.
Grab the main halfway through, transfer it into the backhand. Out we go.
Beautiful
then change
jibe.
over into the tow loop.
Shuffling back into my tow loop.
Clocker rocking.
Okay,
Right.
going in here.
Let's go
Back
for
foot
it.
out of foot strap. Front hand up the handle. Sliding hand down old sheet. Onto new sheet, full chat. Eyeball the handle. Out. Easing kite sheet. Collecting hook. Hooking on. Easing kite sheet a bit more. Back foot in foot strap. Leaning out. There we go. Hammer down.
Go in for the jibe. Main sheet's in the cleat. Big step in. Steering into it. Re-grab the main sheet and sheet on through it just to bring the boom across. Swap over the hands again. Then you clip on and bring your arm out to the side to take the slack out. And then just swing out, keeping your arm out to the side and then out.
Watch Alistair's right hand as he goes through the manoeuvre. He first jibes the tiller, then clips on, before pulling the slack out of the system so he can exit the jibe with confidence. Here Alistair demonstrates two techniques for clipping on out on the wire. Firstly, he goes out on the handle and clips himself on by lifting his hips. In slow motion, we can see Alistair bring his hook up to meet the trapeze ring, before dropping his hips and then changing over, putting the main sheet in the front hand, settling on the jibe. An alternative will be to make maximum use of your weight on the exit of the jibe. Here we see Alistair adopt a really strong body position, waiting for Peter to finish jibing the kite and then allowing him to clip him on.
You have to have elastic running across the back of the 49er. Basically, the reason for this is so that your tillers never get caught under the back quarter of the wing. If you don't have this, you can get in all sorts of trouble through jibing and tacking manoeuvres. So it's essential, basically, to have this elastic as tight as possible across your wings.
Okay, we're at the 29er here, and this is the shroud plate, and it'd be nice just to cover this up and make it all neat like we do on the 49er, and I'll give you an example of that in a second. Also, the spinnaker sheet ratchet hasn't actually got a spring on or anything, and it's essential when you're going into a jibe that the spinnaker sheet ratchet is in the exact place that you need it, so you can just grab the new sheet and go. If we go over to the 49er, we'll have a look. Here's the shroud plate cover. It's just a mountain bike inner tube, just 6-inch piece, and it just slots down over, and then it's literally, the shroud plate's foul free. And then here's the ratchet block. It's just sat on a spring, and it's literally there every time. So when you're going into a jibe, you know the ratchet block's going to be facing the right way and sat, and it's just got that little bit of clearance off the deck so you can get your hand onto the spinnaker sheet. Coming up for a jibe, helmsman's just giving me the cool go. I slide my back hand down the kite sheet, front hand goes up to the trapeze handle. I can clamp it under my thumb on the trapeze handle while sliding my other hand down the kite sheet. I've eyeballed up my new spinnaker sheet at the ratchet, and I've taken it from there. Go good 3 armfuls, get the kite 3/4 round, and then start travelling across the boat with the last little bit, pulling the kite sheet on, climbing out, clipping on, kite's just popping, and now I'm just easing it out, setting it for the downwind position.
An alternative jibe is the blow-through. Watch Peter as he moves into the boat, crossing right up onto the high side and backing the kite before letting go of the old sheet and pulling the sail through. This technique's great for windy weather, as it means the crew can strap the kite down and stop it from filling until the helm's settled on the wire. Safety first, boys. Keeping your sheets tangle-free is important, but when knots do occur, try to sort them without disturbing boat speed too much. Here Peter eyeballs the knot just by the shroud and tries to flick it clear. When that doesn't work, he passes a sheet to Alistair so he can trim the kite, keeping speed on until it's sorted.
Okay, sailing downwind in the 29er, it's very important to pre-jibe the tiller because it'll get in the way of the crew when jibing. This is how it's done. Also, when sailing downwind in the 29er, it's essential that you also stand up as you go into the jibe. Stand up with the back foot, putting pressure on it as you go through the jibe, keep standing, twist, and sit back down.
Running through those points on the water, we can see Alistair pre-jibe the tiller, stand up, put pressure on his back foot, twist, and sit down on the new side. It's important to keep control of the main sheet going into the jibe. Have it ease too much, and the boom will hang on the old side before coming across. It might be okay in 12 knots, but in 25, you're going to capsize. With more main sheet going into the jibe, Alistair has to steer less before the boom comes across. Also notice that because Peter hasn't taken enough sheet on, as he goes out on the handle, Alistair needs to take the sheet off him, allowing Peter to clip on. Once settled, they can swap back over again and arc it up.